If you are running jobs through texts, emails, and handwritten notes, you probably already know how easy it is to miss something. Today I'm speaking to Nola Solomon, founder of Renoverse AI. Today we're speaking about how contractors can save time, communicate better, and use AI without completely changing the way that they work. Let's get into this. Hey, I'm Shaytoya. I've spent more than 10 years in construction, working behind the scenes in marketing, hiring, and I've seen how overwhelming it can be to grow a business. That's how we've learned to build a sustainable business using clear systems, strong communication, and intentional recruiting. If you're ready for better hiring, smarter remarketing, and a business that doesn't fall apart when you step away, welcome to Building Better Contractor Businesses. Can you just share with us exactly what caused you to start your business?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll preface it by saying my background has been in building full stack technology platforms for the advertising ecosystem. I didn't really realize the importance of that for the home construction space until I went through my own addition as a homeowner after my husband and I bought our first home. And it just kind of threw me in to the world of, finding the right professionals. So an architect and a general contractor and builders that we needed to work with, interior designers, and understanding all the different roles and responsibilities, and then going through that whole process, not just of the selection, but then what did we want to do, all the different versions of the floor plans, all the way through to then bidding out for quotes, and then selecting your general contractor in our case, and then going through the whole construction process. It was a lot of scattered emails back and forth, threads, not threads, text messages, phone calls, in person. I got handed pieces of paper with like lists of stuff that had been done and budgets, and also random stuff, and I didn't know how to read it, or I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And so what I also realized is, as much as all of that scattered communication is happening, there's also a ton that isn't getting written down anywhere. And that was also a problem. It could lead to some challenges, which we experienced ourselves. So that's kind of what got me into the world. And I thought, well, why not bring this concept of building full stack tech platforms like what I've done in advertising to the home construction space, and partnered with some residential pros to make it happen.
Yeah, no, there's a big need being in the contractor world for a very long time. So I do agree with you on that. So you were doing something similar before. Was there a a type of people that you used to serve, or a type of business that you used to serve, or did you just kind of go full on onto contractors?
Well, so we initially started developing Renoverse with the concept of, let's start in the planning stages, pre-construction. So we really focused initially on building the first iteration of the platform, working with residential architects. So that's how we got it started. But as we evolved the platform, what we realized quickly was that one of the beauties of it is the workflow collaboration. So the ability to invite others into the project, which naturally allowed us to start getting a lot of feedback from builders and general contractors, interior designers about, their workflows. And so we've been developing a mobile application. So basically your admin assistant in your pocket that is allowing any residential pro to really benefit from the administrative automations that we can bring to bear in creating that audit trail across email and text and phone calls and in person at the project level. So nothing's getting lost in translation, but it's integrating into the workflows and the tools that they already use, versus being like, here's another platform that you need to go now sign into and learn how to use, or replacing something else. We're really kind of threading between that scattered front end of like Excel and email and scatter, and maybe a construction management platform like Procore Builder Trend, or something else that may be being used in terms of managing subs and kind of some of the finance.
Got it. And so when it comes to streamlining, since you guys kind of can, it sounds like you guys can customize it towards the contractor. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so basically the application works for the ownership of the project at the pro level. So if it's a builder or a contractor running the project, or it's an architect running the project, or anyone who wants to plug in and be collaborative within a project that's being operated, a home project, whether that's a new build, an addition, remodel, renovation, we have the tool for you.
Got it. I love that. And so when it comes to, home construction, where do you see, most contractors where they're losing their time when that information is scattered between emails, text messages, and phone calls?
Yeah, well, what I've noticed, and in speaking to boatloads of contractors, including our current customers, has been it's really tons of hours weekly lost to manual admin from the follow-ups that you need to do after walking through the job sites, from keeping your client updated or responding to their queries for information, to making sure that everything that you need to do or that the folks that you're managing need to do for the project have been tracked and are getting done, and that you have that record in some way, shape, or form of it in terms of that audit trail. And right now, there's just so much manual admin that's going into all of that, it sucks up a bunch of time, and time is money, right? It's not billable time. Overall, it was kind of shocking to me, but on average, we were seeing that pros were losing 14 hours a week of unbillable admin time, which is, on an hourly average of $250 an hour, $182,000 a year of revenue loss per person, which is crazy, right? That's a lot of time that you can go grow your business, do another project, spend more time with your family, whatever it is you want to do with it, right? And there is $4 billion a year in annual litigation that's impacting the industry, and that's eating into everyone's margins, and that's happening today. So, with this audit trail, A, you're mitigating that risk, but B, you're making it really easy to quickly get the information if there is a claim and prove it out, or at least end the claim faster.
Got it. And so besides which is huge, the time consuming side of things, was there anything else that you could see from poor communication and untracked decision, how that affects the contractors, which you did mention, the contractor's budget, the schedule, and the relationship with the client as well?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, I mean, I think like with most things in life, fundamentally, when there's a communication problem, which is fundamentally what a lot of this boils down to because of the scatter, because of all the different tools, and then also just the way the industry is operated, it leads to miscommunication. And miscommunication is expensive in a lot of ways. It's expensive financially for everyone involved. It's also expensive from a relationship and trust standpoint. So a kind of example of something that I went through personally here was in our addition, my husband and I had needed two offices, small offices set up because we were working remotely. And we needed the wall between our offices to be soundproofed because we actually worked for competitive companies at the time. So like, okay, we need to make sure we can't hear each other because I talk loud. And so I remember bringing this up with the architect. I remember bringing this up with the general contractor, like ad nauseum, probably annoying the hell out of everybody because I was just, always talking about how this wall needed to be soundproof. It never got written down somehow, or where it did get written down in the emails that I was sending, that wasn't getting tracked anywhere. So it was kind of getting lost in the shuffle of all the other thousands of decisions that need to be made, and obviously all the other kind of things that are top of mind. And this was my project, just one for me. For them, it was one of many, right? So that's another exacerbating element for the pros and the contractors in particular. And so and net end is the wall's not soundproofed. I'm sorry, husband, but and it wasn't, look, the massive deal for us at the end of the day. It's not the worst thing to have happen, and there's certainly worse stories for all parties involved that I'm sure you've heard of, and the listeners will identify with. But it did highlight to me that even when you think you're communicating a lot about something, if you don't have the audit trail, if it's not written down, if there's not a process where things are getting tagged and you don't have a way of, in an automated fashion, reminding the stakeholders about certain important elements that need to be done by when, right? For example, then you're relying on humans to just be able to remember a ton of information. And that's nigh impossible, really, at the end of the day, right? As the most well-intentioned, organized person is still going to have a lot of things slip through the cracks. And so I think that miscommunication is a giant problem today, and costs a lot in terms of both time, money, and sanity and relationship.
Got it. No, I agree with you. And then when it comes to, making sure that your team, as you said, a lot of automations have to remind you, but how do you make sure your team is following those automations when they do pop up?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, my perspective about building technology, especially automated AI-based assistant technology that's integrating, for example, right, we integrate into email, so Gmail and Outlook, so that we can keep track of all of the back and forth scatter that's happening, because people are going to keep emailing each other, right? Regardless of whether they're trying not to or not, that's still going to always be a big medium. And so what we can make sure of as technologists and as a platform is that everything is tracked and time stamped, and you have the data provenance and source of all of that, whether that's a voice note, a brain dump after a walkthrough, an email, a text message, right? A piece of paper that can get pictured, like snapped with a photo and then logged into the files. That is the first step, right? And then it's how do you build into that the ability for a team to decide, well, we need to follow certain protocols, or how do you do it today, right? Where there's a project manager maybe that's making sure that everything is happening at the right cadence, everyone's been informed, and you can actually prove that they've been informed, right? And then if they still don't follow it, you're getting out of technology now. You're getting into the relationships and the business value, right? We can't solve everything, but what we can do is make it really easy to see whether what needs to be done by whom, and everyone has that transparency, and then whether it was done or not, right?
I didn't know. Yep. And why do you believe, like, when it comes to, contractors, a lot of them are kind of set in their ways. Why do you believe that is when they are so resistant to new technology?
Well, I mean, I think there's like at least two things come to mind. One is just human nature, right? Agnostic of what your job role, is, industry is, people are always nervous about change. It's like a natural thing to be. We are in a period of time where technology is advancing at a pace that is unprecedented. AI, I mean, it's a whole universe of possibility that could be really beneficial, but also it's changing every day, and it's, even bigger than the invention of the internet. So it's natural to have some apprehension about that and to think about, well, it's safer to just think about doing things the way I've always done them, right? But what I will say is that I've seen, I think now, a bit of a shift in the winds where early on there was a lot of, well, like we're good with the way we work. And again, like I could understand that. But now what I'm seeing is, oh, well, AI is here. We know we need to figure out how to use it because our competitors are going to be figuring out how to use it. And then we're going to be left behind. And actually, there's a lot of value to like, oh, if you can help me learn how to use it in a way that's beneficial for my business and for me to grow and for me to protect myself, that's great. And even better if you do it in a way that I'm comfortable, which is a core tenet for us, right? Simplicity, intuitiveness, and integrating into the tools you already work with. Because otherwise it's a big chasm to jump across and ask anyone to jump across, quite frankly.
Right. And so with the tools that they're currently using, how do you guys do that with their current tools and workflows contractors are using?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, we kind of are tackling them based on priority order. So email has been the first one that we have launched. As I mentioned, Gmail and Outlook. So we have basically built, to simplify it, a suite of agents that are permissioned by the individual contractor's firm to keep track of all of the back and forth scatter that's happening for the communications over email for a specific project. So we're looking at what is a decision, what is an action item or a task, what is a contextual piece of information that's relevant for this project, and making sure all that is logged into the Renoverse audit trail and files and note systems for them. And then there's a human in the loop element, of course. So there's certain levels of fidelity that you might have as a contractor with what you are happy for the AI, or Ella is our AI assistant, for Ella to automatically log for you, or where you want to validate something, right? Maybe you want to skip it, maybe you want to revise it, or maybe you approve it. Secondarily, it's our app. So our mobile app is critical because it's on your phone. We have it for Android and iOS. When you're on the go doing a walkthrough of a site or at the end of it, you have a lot of thoughts, right? As a contractor, going through your head in terms of what's been done well, what needs to be done next, like who you need to email. So basically, instead of having to kind of write that all down or drive back to your office, get at your desk, send an email, you can brain dump all of that voice to text straight into the app. And Ella basically will turn that brain dump into a note that gets timestamped and logged so you can always reference it. And she can action as your admin assistant on some of those items. So, for example, she'll log any decisions that were made while you were in person or that you mentioned into the app. She'll log any tasks to do items and tag folks. She can draft and send your emails for you. Obviously, you would hit send as the user, and you can work with her to adjust, the email, but she can get that done for you all while you're walking back to your car, right? For example, if you're someone who prefers very tactile ways of working and writing down something on a notepad, do that. And then afterwards, you can snap a picture of it with Ella she'll log that as a digital note that you can reference and query later. And then again, she'll be able to pull and extract the information from that handwritten note or sketch and be able to take those action items for you. So she's doing that manual admin for you before you even need to get back to your car, back to the office. And another really cool thing I think that's been very useful is any file that's uploaded into the platform. So for example, an HOA document or a town document or a budget sheet, right? That is instantly searchable at your fingertips through Ella. So if you are on the job site and the client's asking about a budget topic, you don't need to go back to your office and open your Excel document and check it out and then email the client. You can just ask Ella really quickly for that information and she'll pull it up for you with the data provenance of that file so you can quickly check it if you want. So it's really just helping you be more efficient, keeping track of everything for you, but also helping you move faster during your day-to-day because you don't have to wait to get back to your office to do it or go through multiple different sets of apps to, update whatever you need to update.
And that's perfect because so many contractors are on the go.
Yeah.
And they have 100 excuses why they can't document something. So something like that is actually very perfect. And for a contractor who's possibly, as an example of the contractor that you dealt with when you were getting your home completed, what is that contractor? Where should they start?
In terms of using the product?
Yes. Well, in terms of if they're currently managing things through text, emails, and handwritten notes,
Yes.
where is it that they should start this week?
Yeah. Well, I would say start with reaching out. I would be happy to onboard you to Renoverse to create the project, and then we can work on bringing in everything that you've already got in terms of files, notes, email straight into it. So once that email integration is done, we can look through the backlog of emails and track everything in there. We're working on text message integrations too, so all of that will be forthcoming as well. And then kind of moving forward from there, you can start to leverage both the app as well as kind of the existing workflows that you do over email and text, and knowing that everything is being tracked and that you have access to the instantly queryable at your fingertips information, all the project information, whenever you need it.
Understood. And then could you just tell us a little bit more about the special pilot opportunity available to listeners and who's a good fit?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm really excited to offer a pilot opportunity. So we currently are bringing this to market for early cohort of pilots at a 55% discount to the standard price. And so I welcome anyone who's interested to leverage this opportunity, be a big voice in our product roadmap, and help us continue to develop the key things that are going to make your life easier, your team's life easier, your client's life easier, and lead to those better referrals and more business overall to reach out. Right now, the pricing is at $100 per user per month. So again, at a firm level, and we can also discuss custom pricing for mid to larger size organizations.
Perfect. Yes, very exciting. And thank you so much, Nola.
Thank you very much.
If you believe that this episode brought you real clarity, be sure to share it with another contractor who also needs it. And if you want to keep this conversation going, be sure to join our community of contractors inside Building Better Contractor Businesses Facebook group. This is a community where we talk through the real problems that you are having in your business. The link will be found in our show notes. And remember, we are not just completing projects. We are building better contractor businesses. I will see you next time.